Hi everyone, it's Lisa with InkandInspirations.com. Thank you for joining me. In this video, we're going to be making a wedding card with the Bloomin' Hearts Thinlits die and the beautiful ride stamp set that is in the Stampin' Applications catalog. Now I'm just using a small little floral image and a sentiment from this set. So first, let's cut our Thinlit heart. So I have a piece of very vanilla cardstock. It's cut at least 4 1/4 inches wide to give myself plenty of room. And I'm going to take the heart Thinlit and place it close to one edge, like that, and move my cardstock over to the side, the edge of my Big Shot, because that's where the pressure is the greatest on my Big Shot anyway. Now, you know, one Big Shot is not always the same as the other, so kind of experiment with yours. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this through several times to get some good cuts. That's once, and I'm coming back through, that's twice. Let's go again for 3 times, 4, and I think I'm just going to do it one more time for good measure. Okay, let's set the Big Shot aside and move this out of the way. And now I have my Big Shot die brush and the foam pad that comes with it. And I'm going to take that brush and I'm going to rub it over the die itself. Now, when I first used this brush, I was afraid I was going to be ripping the paper to shreds. And I'll tell you that if you're cutting designer series paper, which is a thinner paper than our cardstock, you can be, you would be a little bit more gentle, and you probably wouldn't want to run it through the Big Shot as many times as I just did for this very vanilla cardstock. But what this brush does is all those little bristles get down in those little holes and loosen up the paper so that it's easy to remove your delicate cut piece from the die. So I'm just going to keep going just a little bit more. And sometimes I'll come back and lay it down and rub some more. But we're going to try this in just a bit and see how it works. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that away. You can see it was removed from the cardstock. Then I like to push through these larger cutout areas first and start gently lifting. And you can see most of the little pieces are still in the die, and I usually just go back later and poke through those holes and poke all of that out. Okay, and everyone does something different with their dies. Some, you might try using wax paper. It just depends on your Big Shot and the tension of it, but I find this way works best for me. So all I have to do to prepare this for the card is just come and get the few little pieces that are still there, and I don't really want to press too hard so that I don't mess up the beautiful lacy image there. And I'm going to set this aside and clean it later. And now we can start building our card. So I have a Whisper White card base that was cut at 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, and then I folded it in half. And then I have a piece of very vanilla cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and I ran that through the Big Shot with this Delicate Dots Textured Impressions embossing folder, and love that, love this design, and I think it's very pretty for this wedding card. So I know that I'm not going to put anything around this top layer here, so I'm just going to go ahead and use some Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue and attach it to the front of the card base, just like that. You have about a 1/4 inch showing all the way around. Okay, so now I'm going to take my Thinlit and I'm going to use some dots of glue just mainly around the edges, and then I'm going to try this, but a lot of times I will go back and put glue dots to make it faster. and not have to wait so long for the drying time. But we're going to try this. And again, glue dots would do a really good job with adhering this to the card base. But let's try this for right now. Okay, now for the sentiment, I have "Congratulations, you two," and I have a strip of Very Vanilla cut at 1/2 inch by about 5 1/2, and that's just to give myself plenty of room to stamp the sentiment. And this is photopolymer, so I want to use our Stampin' Pierce mat beneath it and stamp the sentiment. And then I'm going to take my paper snips and just banner cut the ends like this. And then I'm going to leave about 1/4 to 1/2 inch on this side and cut straight across. Okay, so now I think I am going to do glue dots on this one. And then attach it to the bottom here. And I'm going to justify it a little bit to the right because I'm going to use another embellishment here on this end. I stamped in crumb cake ink because I thought that neutral light color would be really pretty with the Very Vanilla. Now I've got my linen thread that goes along with that crumb cake ink, and I'm going to do several bow loops here. That's 2, 3, 4, let's do 6, 5, and 6. Then I'm going to cut it with my craft scissors, and these are retiring, and it just makes me so sad. I love them. I have 3 pair of them because I sew also, and it is great. You know, I use them for cutting ribbon and fiber in my paper crafting, but for sewing, they are wonderful for fabric. I love them. So I'm tying another little piece of linen thread just to make that bow. And then I can take my craft scissors and just kind of trim those edges a bit. And then let's try a mini glue dot. And that is going to go right at the edge of that sentiment. Now one last little touch here. I've got my my pearl basic jewels, and I'm going to use some of these larger ones in these large blossom shapes on the die cut, and then some of the smaller ones on these smaller blossoms, and then one again, a larger one here right at the edge of that sentiment. So there's the card, and I wanted to show you how, here's the original that I did, and I finished the inside with "The Journey Begins" and stamped the little flower image from the Beautiful Ride set. Okay, I hope this has given you an idea for a wedding card that make a beautiful card for any occasion. Try this monochromatic look in any color and see what the beautiful results you get by using the same color and just a coordinating ink to make a beautiful monochromatic card. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure you visit my website at inkandinspirations.com, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.